Ladies and gentlemen,
the most transformative sport event on earth is about to begin.
Those who are in the stadium are on their feet.
It's just a long, niggly climb.
Because it is desperation now. And there it is.
Gold! What a result! Another remarkable athlete about to write another chapter in Paralympic history.
Bonjour and welcome to Day 4 of the Paris 2024 Paralympics on Keep the Flame Alive, the podcast for fans of the Olympics and Paralympics. I am your host, Jill Jarris, coming to you from the Hotel du Podcast, joined as always by my lovely co-host, Alison Brown. Alison, bonjour.
Bonjour. This has been possibly the best day that I have been here.
Did it involve wheelchair rugby?
It did not.
Okay, we're going to get to it. Because it was very mysterious. You've been very mysterious about. Last night you were like, I'm doing this thing. I'm not going to tell you what it is. Very mysterious woman here.
And that is not even the story I have to tell you.
Wow. Let's get right to it. Follow-up file.
So you had a lot of trouble getting to the Grand Palais and getting to the proper place, and it's because you have issues.
I'm not surprised.
Entrance number 1 is the same as it has always been for accredited media. All the signs are still there. You still go through the room with 5 doors and the stairway to hell.
So I just didn't go in. I had to keep going around the palais. Okay, so this is then my beef is why don't they see I'm a journalist. Maybe they don't see I'm a journalist. They just see
accreditation.
They see accreditation. They see all the app. They all have an app on their phone that they scan to make sure the accreditation is real. And I think they just must go, well, we can scan it. It's okay. But I wish they knew what
Don't
media
blame
was.
the security who was trying to be nice to you for your directional deficiencies.
I have been so nice to securities. They have all gotten in on the pin game. Let me tell you how we had problems during the Olympics with pins because there wasn't much pin trading going on, and that was really frustrating to a lot of the collectors. The Paralympics, they know trading, and those security people, they know trading, and they're awesome.
The minute that bag comes out of my backpack, I have little hands. Oh, do you have pins? Yes, I do.
So that is great. Let us begin the baguette. All right, we did mention that the horse from the Olympics opening ceremonies is at the Hotel de Ville. So popular that they extended the hours to see it, and everything is just sold out. I would say sold out. All the tickets have been claimed because they're free. It's free to go. But I thought I could go and see it like you can go and see the balloon and you don't have to be up close. They put this in the interior courtyard. So I'm not sure that you can do a similar, not walk right up to it, but sidle out to the back.
Maybe you need to be the master torchbearer and climb across the roof.
Oh, that would be great. If I put a cloak on with a big hooded cloak, do you think they would think I was the hooded cloak?
No.
You don't? Okay.
She was tall.
What? Anyhow, okay, tell me what it is that you did today.
So the Paris Media Center has been doing a lot of press tours related to disabilities. So I went to a restaurant called Dans le Noir for the lunch in the dark.
Oh my gosh, that is awesome.
I'm going to do a full blog post on it because there's a lot of details and I don't want to, we could do 3 podcast episodes on this experience. But so what it is a restaurant. It's been around for 20 years. You come into the restaurant and then they take you into an absolute lightless room and you eat lunch.
Do you know what you're eating?
No, they do not tell you ahead of time what the menu is. So you do not know. So that's where the difference is if you were actually a blind person. Nobody's going to put a plate of food in front of a visually impaired person. And,
you can't see. We won't tell you what. You don't get to choose what you want to eat either.
So we don't know. They ask you if you have allergies or food restrictions, and then we got a main dish and a dessert, and a bottle of water and a cup, and you had to pour the water into the cup. And here's what I will say. And then they pass a bread basket around, and also part of their purview is they hire visually impaired waiters because the room's in the dark. It doesn't matter. And train them to have a job that they may not be able to get otherwise. They also developed a perfume, and the chemists that are working on the perfume are also visually impaired. And they had to train them because you can't train a chemist in a standard way if they can't see.
Huh.
Perfume smells beautiful, by the way.
Ooh.
So here's the one part I will tell you. This was the most terrifying experience that I have had in Paris. And here's why. Because I don't speak French.
Oh.
So I was in a completely blackened room, and everyone is speaking French around me. Thankfully, this very, very lovely woman on my tour who I'd spoken to pretty much the whole walk over sat next to me. And when she realized I was next to her, she spoke to me at least a little bit in English, because otherwise I was completely adrift.
Wow.
And just that 10 minutes before she realized I was there, and she said to me, "Oh, are you frightened?" And I said, "Yes, because even though I can tell the waiter when he comes to tap me that he needs to say what he's going to say to me in English," because I had asked ahead of time if one of the waiters spoke English, so they made sure that the waiter who was helping me spoke English. But everyone around me was speaking French, and I had no idea what was happening. I couldn't see it. I couldn't understand what anyone was saying. I could feel the table in front of me, and that was my world.
Wow. What did you have to eat?
We had it ended up being like a beef dish with risotto and salad, like a cooked salad in it. I thought it was lentils, and it was risotto, because you don't know. So you're going simply by what's in your mouth. And I knew, this was really funny to me, I knew there was a flavor in the dish that I didn't like, but I couldn't avoid it because I didn't know where it was on the plate. It was olives. And you know how I hate olives. So that was mixed into the vegetables.
Oh, wow.
So all of a sudden I would get this, and I couldn't tell what I was picking up on my fork, couldn't tell how big of a bite I had gotten, couldn't tell when the plate was empty.
That's really fascinating.
It was an incredible, incredible experience. And the food was quite tasty. Except for the olive.
That is cool. I'm glad you went on that. I'm also glad you didn't tell me until now. That was awesome. I went to Team USA's High Performance Center to have a wheelchair fencing lesson with foilist Byron Branch. That was fun. I was there. I felt like I was there for a while. I will talk about it more as wheelchair fencing goes on, because
You learned some things.
I learned some stuff, and I might be sore tomorrow in ways, in weird places. Like my forearm really hurt when I was done.
That makes sense, because you were probably gripping so
Yeah,
tight to
yeah.
hang on to it.
And of course, if you're a fencing geek, there's multiple types of grips that they put on, the handles that they put on their weapons. I had a French grip, which is just a long post, and of course they all use the pistol grip. So it's a lot easier to maneuver around. So that it was sore.
How did they put you into the wheelchair?
They did not strap me in. You don't have to
Okay.
be strapped in. You
Okay.
can be strapped in if you want to. So that was it. But they had to set the wheelchairs up in a certain configuration because I'm a righty, he was a lefty, so it's got to go a certain way. But there's so much more. Byron was great.
What did you think of the High Performance Center? Because now you and I have both seen it, as has producer Ben. So you've gotten a lot of...
Yeah, I mean, I only saw this one room and walked around. It's big. I will say
big.
that. It's air conditioned. That's nice. And Byron was saying, look, the High Performance Center has been fabulous for them because the training facilities at the village are pretty small. And of course, you have to share with everybody. They had They had a fencing strip laid out, and you could have, I think he said 4 different wheelchair fencing setups can fit on one strip. So you can get a lot of things. It's a giant room, and they could fit a ton of strips on there if they wanted to. And the village workout room was, I don't know.
It's in a garage. It's in the parking
really not
garage.
that much. They really couldn't fit that many strips in, and they have to share the room with the equipment check people. So it's a lot of people trying to do the same thing, and of course it's hot because there's no air conditioning. So he really appreciated the effort that went into the high performance training center. So we'll have more on that as the week goes on. Volunteer job that you would, or officiating job you would want to do.
I was at archery today. I'm an arrow girl. I know that there were men and women and boys doing this, but I am calling myself an arrow girl. So, and you might need to clarify this for me. I only noticed it when we had shootouts.
Oh,
And
no, it's every end.
It
They
is
bring 'em
every
back.
end. Okay.
Yeah.
So at every end, they bring them arrows. They don't put all the arrows for the entire match with them.
Right. So they shoot an end. The arrow people have probably 6 arrows or 7 arrows that they have in their it's not a holster. Meredith, I know I can't remember my terminology. My brain is really
it a
switchy.
quiver?
It may be. So they shoot an end, and while the coaches and the judges are looking to see if there's any questions, the arrow people run down like the arrows for the next end, and they can get ready, and then that end shoots up, and so there's always like constantly replenishing the arrows every end.
I
It's a
like
good
that because
job.
it's a volunteer job in that it deals with equipment and you're still dealing with the athletes and the coaches, and there's still some personality going on there.
They do have to hustle.
They do have to hustle. My short little legs will have to do some turnover. But there was a very short girl who was probably all of 2021 who was at the session, and I think I identified with her. And her little legs just going so fast every time.
I was at wheelchair basketball today, and they had the same circular push dry mops that they had at the wheelchair rugby halftime show.
But did they actually use them to sweep?
Yes, they were used for sweeping. And then I was like, oh, these are real. And then I noticed they were Paris 2024 branded ones. So the handles were pink, and they said Paris 2024 on them. And then the mop was teal. And then it had a pink edge. It might be pink underneath. And oh my gosh.
Are we going to Decathlon tomorrow to see if we can find them?
I wish they'd. It's something that may show up at one of those garage sales. And I don't know, I may have to extend the plane, my plane ticket, and go to one of those garage sales and see if I could get one of those. I don't know how I'd get it home. I don't know how you declare that on customs. You're bringing home a mop. Why? The other thing I was going to say that it's not a volunteer or officiating job because I think these people got paid. I saw 2 men crushing plastic bottles at wheelchair basketball. They have a little machine out around the building, which is conveniently located next to the container that is marked with a pink sign that says, here's where the plastic reusable cups are. There's 2 of those containers. I went, oh, wow, there's the gold mine right there. But they were crushing plastic bottles. So obviously these are getting recycled. That made me feel better.
When you said they were crushing plastic bottles, I thought you meant like on their head.
Negative. All right.
They're getting ready for powerlifting.
And that's the sound you make every time we get an email that says we've gotten a donation. And it's a great sound that I love to hear every day. So we are an independent media outlet. We do love bringing you this coverage of the games, and we hope you enjoy it as well, and that it's bringing you Paris if you can't be here but at the same time, being here does cost money. It costs a lot of money to produce these shows. So we really rely on listener support to help us make this possible and to keep our flame alive. If you are enjoying the coverage, how about sending some euros our way, or dollars, or whatever currency you have? 2024, $20.24 is a great number to use for that, just to keep that 2024 theme going. We have a number of ways you can support us on our website. That's flamealivepod.com/support. There's Venmo, there's PayPal. If you'd like to be an ongoing contributor, there's Patreon. All paid patrons get a special photo of the day that does not go anywhere else. And there's, for the $5 a month and up category, we have a special video. There's going to be some audio coming up your way, and that's special exclusives to you as well. Thank you to everyone who has donated so far. You've really shown up, and it really, I mean, it makes Alison go. If you want to keep that going, please continue to support us. Thank you so much, everyone. All right. We have daily results. You know it started. Do you have other caveman sounds? You have a whole language there? You don't speak French, but you speak "arr."
You are not going to ruin my day. I haven't even told you why this is the best day ever.
Oh my gosh. Wow. Okay, but blind football has started. That's one of the bits of the best day ever, is that blind football has started. We are in the men's preliminary round. There's only a men's tournament right now. Colombia beat Japan 1-0. Morocco and Argentina had a 0-0 tie. Brazil beat Turkey 3-0, and France beat China 1-0. I was in the hotel room early. My evening session got done fairly early, so I put on Channel 3 here, and they had the blind football match on. And I don't know how the French fans are watching this when they can't cheer the entire time.
You know, I have seen things on social media that Goalball is marginally having a problem.
Oh, I got to get there so I can get some quiet pleases.
Right, because everywhere else they're encouraged to cheer so loudly. You know, allez les bleus. And then there it's quiet please. And blind football as well, it's quiet please, because the players need to hear the bells in the ball and the clunking on the, clunking is not the right word, the tapping. Yes. On the goalposts.
And also the coaches can yell to them, because that makes it sound chaotic too. It's a lot of chaos in football. I am so impressed with these players, because I really don't know how they do it. I can understand how they dribble. Their dribbling technique is different from able-bodied football, and that so it keeps the ball near their feet a little bit more, and they can keep feeling it. But I don't know how they sort all these sounds out and the ball and where they are in relation to everybody else on their team.
I couldn't even do it for lunch.
So the announcing, the commentary was so much fun to listen to here in the room on TV. They were so excited about this game. It really showed through. Then at the end, they thanked, because France won, they thanked every team member by name. They thanked the coaches by name.
The TV announcers?
The TV announcers were like, merci this, merci, merci, merci l'équipe. It was so cool.
That's beautiful. The connection that, and we've seen this a lot over the Olympics and now the Paralympics, how France has really stepped up for its team, which we weren't sure was going to happen. And I don't know why we weren't sure.
Because the French are pessimistic, but boy, do they like their sports.
They do love their les bleus.
That's right. Moving over to Boccia, we had quarters and semifinals in men's and women's individual play in many classes, including BC2, which is a moderate trunk control and sitting balance impairments. Women's individual, gold went to Christina Goncalves from Portugal. Silver went to Jeong So Young from Korea, and bronze went to Gisha Sayana from Indonesia. And in the men's individual, same class, gold went to Werwoot Sangampa from Thailand. Silver went to Muhammad Bintang Herlanga from Indonesia, and bronze went to Washarpan Phongsa from Thailand. Thailand's stepping up on Boccia.
Thailand is stepping up on everything, it feels like. I feel like we're saying Thailand a lot. And Indonesia.
Very nice. Goalball today, we had men's and women's preliminary matches. And the prelims really don't produce... they produce standings, but the standings aren't used to eliminate anybody, which is different from a lot of other pool play team sports. They are just a way to seed people into the quarterfinals. So everybody's going to go through. But we've got some pretty big results here. Japan beat Egypt 11-1. USA beat Iran 14-7. China beat Ukraine 6-1. In the women's team, very different story. Korea, Canada, 0-0 tie. China, Israel, 6-1 China. And then Japan beat France 6-0. So tomorrow the quarterfinals happen. It's USA versus Japan for our Team TKFLASTAN's Callahan Young. Para Archery, you were there.
I wasn't there for the W1, so do those results first.
All right. Well, W1 is, we had the men's individual, which is a high level of impairment. Gold went to Jason Tabansky from the USA. Silver went to Hong Gifel from China. And bronze went to Zhang Tiaqin from China.
Okay, before I get into the competition, here's the story I wanted to tell you. In between rounds, I retreated to the media center because it was hot. And you're in the blazing sun. You know this. There's no shade. And you want to know who was in the media center with me?
Jackie Chan.
Andrea Joyce.
From NBC?
From NBC. She was basically there covering Matt Stutzman. And she was interviewing him after kind of each round and giving little reports as to what was happening. And there were a couple other American archers that she was really focused on. And I said to myself, you are never going to have this chance again.
That's right.
So I went up to her and I said, I'm going to be completely press unprofessional and just tell you how awesome you are. And she then proceeded to have like a 10-minute conversation with me. I have pictures.
What?
The people who were there were her NBC people. The guy sitting next to her said, oh, what's your name? And I told him, and he said, and I know Alison's going to be too shy, Andrea, but she wants a picture. Oh. And I was like, yeah, I kind of do. It gets better. So Andrea was asking me what we did and how long we've been doing it, and isn't that great? And then she says to me, I'll come on your podcast.
What?
She gave me her phone number.
Oh my gosh, this is the best day.
And then she's like, oh, but you only want athletes. And I'm like,
and people
Andrea
behind
Joyce,
the scenes.
Andrea Joyce, you will be a month-long special. She was, I cannot tell you how incredibly gracious and supportive, and how we were talking about women in sports broadcasting, because I said to her, we couldn't do what we do without you.
Very true.
Because she and Leslie Visser and that whole generation of women broadcasters in sports really, really broke through. And we couldn't do those mixed zone interviews.
No.
Back in the day. And to have that generation of women, and she was just so incredibly kind and lovely, and just wanted to talk about what we do. I have her phone number.
Amazing. Well, that will be like a month-long special, because she has done so many Olympics. And we have to talk about Adam Rippon, calling her Andrea all the time. I mean, because really that's one of the things that makes her, I want to say it makes her stand out, but the fact that the athletes know that she cares about them and asks good questions and really wants to get to the heart of things without being, get different information. The fact that he appreciates it so much and be like, Andrea.
and this is totally unprofessional. She's beautiful.
Oh no.
Which made me like, oh, as if you weren't amazing enough, you were also so incredibly beautiful in person. So, and her staff was all lovely to me. They gave me an NBC Paris pin.
Nice. Did they get pins?
They got pins.
Good.
And cards.
Good.
And I have Andrew Joyce's phone number. And then there was this little competition going on with our good friend Matt Stutzman.
I know. Oh, by the way.
While this is all happening. So I got there for the 8th elimination round, and Matt faced Forsberg. This was a rematch of the 2012 gold medal match. Ended in a shootout. Stutzman lost that.
Mm-hmm.
Ended in a shootout today.
Because I checked the score when I was at wheelchair tennis, and it was tied. Because I was following along. We were near the end, and then it was tied, and I was like, oh my gosh.
It was,
and it was that last arrow kind of thing for both of them. It was so close. And Matt got a 10, I think, on his last arrow.
Matt not only got a 10 on his last arrow, it was a dead center 10. It was like through the apple kind of shot. It was.
Oh, wait. It was boom.
It was boom.
If you remember the Tokyo 2020 commercials.
I also just want to mention Jonathan Clemens, who is the Team USA coach, who's on the field, for lack of a better word. Fields is good enough for now, with all the Team USA archers, and just handles them each differently. Definitely is working with whatever they prefer. So he was fantastic. Right. And so then we get to the quarterfinals. This was a super tight match, but not as stressful as a shootout. And Matt beat Nathan McQueen 143-142, who was it's in the semis that he meets the medalist. We'll get there. Okay. That one was when I was hanging out with Andrea. So I only saw that on the feed inside the media room. Then we get to the semis, and Matt is facing He Jiao, who is the Tokyo 2020 gold medalist and has been a machine. Going maybe one end in, he had 16 10s in a row. Oh, my God. And he's super fast. And if you remember our conversation with Matt Stutzman, one of the things Matt talked about was sometimes opponents like to go very, very quickly because he can't set up his arrows as quickly as they can shoot, and it's all timed. Each archer only gets 30 seconds. So he was going really quickly, and I could see Matt trying to keep up with the pace. Mm-hmm. Like the second he shot the arrow, he was setting up the next one. There was no time to think. He made a couple of unexpected errors, and Matt took advantage.
Wow.
Goes to a shootout. He gets a 9 in the shootout.
Forget it. Then that's almost like show's over.
And then Matt scores a 10. So then we go to the gold medal match. And at this point, I'm like, he's going to win. Watching him through each of these rounds, he just kept shooting more relaxed, more confidently. He shot a couple of 8s, and of course the crowd reacts, and he would look at everybody and just kind of shake his head and wave his hand like, it's fine, people. I'm good. This is no problem. A couple of scores got changed.
Oh, right, because they have to measure.
And one was to his advantage, and he kind of bounced up and down, and one was to his disadvantage, and he was like, oh. He was so relaxed that going into that gold medal round, surprisingly, I was very relaxed.
Well,
which is nice. Not my normal state of affairs. Never mind in a gold medal round. So it was against China's Ai Jin Liang, who also kind of had been a 10 machine up until this round. Made a couple of mistakes. Matt gets a Paralympic record score.
What?
And wins the gold medal.
Oh my gosh. And it's when he said the other night when he had in the ranking round trouble with his equipment. The last time that happened, he came back and won the whole thing.
And yeah, there he did. So lucky enough to get some time with him in the mix zone. So we'll throw that tape on the end. Most of who you're going to hear asking the questions is a Team USA media rep. But I did get to talk to him a little bit after and at least get to say congratulations. And during the interview, he got emotional. So then I started crying. And he was kind of laughing at me and I was laughing at him. So you can't hear that, but I did want to share that because the two of us were sitting there and tears are running down our cheeks. And I'm like, well, I've been totally press unprofessional this entire session. So I'm going to cry with you, Matt Stutzman. So we talked about, is he going to come back? He has previously, before the game, said, this is it. And he said tonight, I can't do better than this. My family was all here. Mm-hmm. I shot as good as I could shoot. I've got a gold medal. I'm done. This is good.
Yeah. And I think it's interesting because he had mentally prepared for that. You know, he's talked, like you said, retirement. And of course, everyone on the press side just thinks people can keep going and going and going. Even his coach was like, well, you know, we're going to take a break and then we're going to see what.
He's 41.
He's not. He's getting up there, and there's other stuff that he wants to do in his life, and maybe he would want to come see in 3 years, like with the build up to LA happening. Do you get roped in by that excitement? But really, how can you do better than a gold medal and a Paralympic record, and what you've done for the sport on the playing field? I mean. It's okay, people. It's okay for Matt Stutzman to retire.
And in this tournament, in these rounds, he beat the people who beat him at the previous Paralympics. So we got a movie ending.
Yeah, right.
So in the men's compound open competition, Matt Stutzman from the United States wins golds. Ai Xinyang from China wins silver. And He Jiao takes the bronze.
Moving over to para athletics, we will start with jumps today. One thing I didn't mention about para athletics is I was walking around the stadium yesterday, and they've got the try it things because they have at every venue. There's like a try the sport thing, but they have a setup where they've got a little lane that is a wheelchair lane, so you can test what it's like to be. It doesn't have the racing wheelchair, but it's actually more of a basketball wheelchair or something like that. Something where the wheels are angled in, so that you get that kind of feel. And then there's another station where they put a blind visor on you and kind of lead you through an agility ladder and then trying to go around some cones on your own. It's really interesting to see people try this.
Did you try it?
No, I didn't have time. Lines are long for this stuff. I will tell you that kind of the crowd engagement really has been good. And so they've done a lot of that stuff. But in jumps, we had women's long jump T12, which is a visually impaired class. This is a class where the athlete tends to count their strides to know where they are in relationship to the board and the pit. Gold went to Oksana Zubkovska from Ukraine. Silver went to Sarah Martinez from Spain. And bronze went to Linda Hamri from Algeria. This is Oksana Zubkovska's 5th Paralympic title in this class. She has been going since Beijing in 2008. This is incredible. It sounds like she's going to retire as well.
Well,
and
you think 5 is enough? Maybe you should go for an even half dozen.
Well,
like use them as plates. You have a 6th serving.
But now she's going to help the next generation of Paralympic athletes. In the women's long jump T37 class, which is a side moderate impairment, which makes them a little more asymmetrical, gold went to China's Wen Xiaoyang, who got a Paralympic record. Silver went to Jaylene Roberts from the USA, and bronze went to Manon Genest from France. Men's high jump T47 class, one arm or the absence of. Roderick Townsend went from the USA, won gold. Kumar Nishad from India won silver, and Georgy Marigev from Neutral Paralympic Athletes won the bronze. Moving over to throws, we had a bunch of shot put tonight. We had women's shot put F20 class, which is intellectual impairment. Gold went to Sabrina Fortune from Great Britain with a world record. Silver went to Gloria Agbo-Magnon from France with a personal best. And bronze went to Polith Ismar Mendez Sanchez from Ecuador. We have on every once in a while, because we're here in the Hotel du Podcast, we can put on a TV while we're prepping, and they've got this show called Kelju.
Yes, Kelju.
And it's like
Keju. I'm not sure.
Yeah. And it's like a wrap up of the games, and they bring out all the different medalists from
the French medalists.
Yes, the French medalists. And there's a TV audience, so everybody's excited, and they replay races and stuff like that. So they replayed her winning throw, and she just went so happy, running across the track, running to her coaches and to her family, and she was thrilled to do that. And it was a far throw.
She wasn't fooling around.
It was one of those, like, when I saw Ryan Krauser throw in person, like, you could see off of his hand how good of a throw that was. And here you could also see that too. So good for her.
I want to mention really quickly something about classification. Each sport uses their own classification. So you will hear us say, for example, F20 is an intellectual impairment for field events, but in swimming, it's S14. Mm-hmm. So classification, once again, very confusing. We're going to work with you on this, but different sports use different numbers.
Mm-hmm. Men's shot put F40 are people with short stature. Gold went to Miguel Monteiro from Portugal, who got a Paralympic record. Silver went to Batugula Kismed from Mongolia, and bronze went to Garat Tianesh from Iraq. In the men's shot put F53 class, which is a seated class because they have high impairment in the trunk or legs. They have some difficulty with hand grip as well. The gold went to Giga Ochkidia from Georgia, who got a world record. Silver went to Abdelila Ghani from Morocco, and bronze went to Alireza Mokherti Hemami from Iran. Moving over to discus, we have two competitions there. The men's F52 class, which is a seated class, high degree of trunk and leg and hand impairment, but they have some mobility in their arms. The gold went to Rigavan Ganesh Maruti from Italy, who got a world record. Silver went to Igars Apinina from Latvia, and bronze went to Andre Rocha from Brazil. I love the fact that all these world records are following, because it means that the competition is getting better. So this is exciting. Women's discus throw in the F64 class, which is a lower leg impairment or absence of the lower limbs. Gold went to China's Yang Hui. Silver went to China's Yao Huan. And bronze went to Osiris Aneth Mercado Plata from Mexico. And then in the women's javelin throw F34 class, which is some trunk and arm mobility, but they have greater impairment in their hips and legs, gold went to Zhao Lijuan from China with a world record. Silver went to Zhuo Kaiyun with a personal best. She's also from China. And bronze went to Dana Kreese from Australia. On the track, we have a women's 100-meter class in the T34, which is a wheelchair class. Gold went to Hannah Cockcroft from Great Britain. We've heard that name before. Silver went to Carrie Adenegan from Great Britain. And bronze went to Lan Hanyu from China. In the women's 200 T35 class, which is a leg impairment, maybe some upper body impairment as well. Gold went to China's Zhao Jia. Silver went to China's Guo Qiangchang, who got a personal best. And bronze went to India's Preeta Pal with a personal best. Moving up to the 200 meter, this is a T36 class, which is low to moderate impairment in all four limbs. Gold went to China's Shi Yiting with a Paralympic record. Silver went to Danielle Atchison from New Zealand.
Go Silver Ferns!
And bronze went to Molly Lovell from Australia. In the women's 800-meter T53 class, which is a wheelchair class, gold went to Catherine de Bruyne from Switzerland, who got a Paralympic record.
Second gold for her at this Paralympics.
Nice. Silver went to Samantha Kinghorn from Great Britain, and bronze went to Zhao Hong Zhan from China. In 800 meters T54, which is another wheelchair class, gold went to Manuela Scher from Switzerland. Silver went to Zhao Xiang from China. Scher got a Paralympic record. Zhao got a personal best. Bronze went to Susanna Scaroni from USA. Moving over, we have two men's 100-meter races. T13, which is a visual impairment class. Gold went to Skander Jamil Altamani from Algeria, who got a Paralympic record. Silver went to Salum Agzazi Kashafali from Norway, and bronze went to Kawakami Shuta from Japan. In the men's 100-meter T44 class, which is a low to moderate impairment in one lower leg, gold went to South Africa's Pumelelo Malongo. Silver went to Yamal Luis Viva Suarez from Cuba, and bronze went to Eddie Bernard from Malaysia. In the men's, we have a couple 400-meter classes as well. T11, which is visually impaired, they have the guide runners in this class. Gold went to Anderson German Santos Gonzalez from Venezuela. Silver went to Timothy Adolphe from France. And bronze went to Guillaume Junior Atagana from Refugee Paralympic Team. For the T53 class, which is a wheelchair class, gold went to Pongsakom Payo from Thailand. Silver went to Brent Lakatos from Canada, and Brian Seaman from the U.S. got a personal best and the bronze medal. In the T54 class, which has a little bit more full range of body, arm, and movements than the T53 class, gold went to China's Dai Yung Chiang, who got a Paralympic record. Silver went to Asiwat Peng Nuea from Thailand, and bronze went to our very own Daniel Romanchuk.
Second medal of the games.
All right. Para-badminton. Para-badminton's wrapping up tomorrow.
Really?
It's the last day for para-badminton.
I missed
tomorrow.
para-badminton.
So we had semifinals in a bunch of men's and women's singles classes. Medal matches were in the wheelchair classes today. Women's doubles, WH1 and 2. Gold goes to China's Liu Yungtong and Ying Men Lu. Silver goes to Satomi Sarina and Yamazaki Yuma from Japan, and bronze goes to Sujirat Pukam and Amnuli Vaitatan from Thailand. And in the men's version of the same class, gold goes to China's Mai Jiangpen and Qu Jimo, and silver goes to Jung Jae-gung and Yu Su-young from Korea, and bronze went to Kajiwara Daiki and Murayama Hiroshi from Japan.
So our researcher Elizabeth noted in one of her messages to us how interesting it is that the same sports, the countries that dominate in Olympic sport, very often dominate in the Paralympic sport. And it just makes sense. Of course, that's what you see people doing. Mm-hmm. You know, if you grew up prior, say, if it was an accident kind of thing, or if your able-bodied siblings are doing that sport, of course you're going to want to do that sport. You've got the facilities, you've got the coaches, you've got the interest. So it makes sense that we're seeing, Japan and Thailand and China and Korea in these badminton, because that's what we see in Olympic badminton. Why wouldn't it be the same?
In paracycling track, we had 2 races in the visual impairment class. Men's B1000 meter time trial. Gold went to James Ball from Great Britain with his pilot Stephen Lloyd. Silver went to Neil Feichi with his pilot Matthew Rotherman, also from Great Britain. And bronze went to Thomas Ulbricht with pilot Robert Forstmann from Germany. And in the women's 3,000 meter individual pursuit finals in the B class, gold went to Sophie Unwin from Great Britain with her pilot Jenny Hall. Silver went to Katie George Dunleavy from Ireland with pilot Eve McChrystal. and bronze went to Laura Facci from Great Britain with pilot Corinne Hall.
Laura and Neil Facci are a married couple.
Nice. And they had their toddler son, Fraser, in the crowd. So that is very cool. Then we had a bunch of C classes as well. Women's C5 3,000 meter individual pursuit finals. Gold went to Marie Paul-Juliet from France. She was on Kelju tonight and says that the games have been unbelievable and magical. She's got the road race and she's retired after that. She's going to go out on top. So good for her. What a way to end a career, athletic career.
A gold medal in your home country.
Yes. So that is fantastic. Silver went to France's Heidi Gauguin and bronze went to Nicole Murray from New Zealand.
Thank goodness. Go Silver Ferns. I haven't said that much.
No, but at least we get some in today. In the open C1 to 5 750 meter team sprint finals, gold went to Great Britain, silver to Spain, and bronze to Australia. Para rowing today, last day for para rowing. We could not get out there because para rowing was always early in the morning
And far away.
and it is very far away. So maybe we can get to canoe. We have to look at the time.
We got to look at some VA.
Yeah, I'm really excited about that. But fair warning, if it starts in the morning and ends at noon and is far away, highly unlikely that we can get there based on how we tape the show and when we go to bed.
And also, to be fair, how the buses run out there.
That's true. We had B finals in women's and men's single sculls, mixed double sculls, mixed coxed 4, and also A finals. Sounded like it was a really tough day on the water because there was a strong headwind going on as well. So that's a lot to work through. In the women's single sculls PR1 class, this is minimal to no leg and trunk function. Gold went to Moran Samuel from Israel. Silver went to Birgit Skarstein from Norway, and France is Natalie Benoit from won the bronze. That was about a half second apart finish on silver and bronze. And so Skarstein was really kicking it into gear. Didn't know how she finished until she saw the results. So that was an exciting race. Men's single sculls PR1 class, which is minimal to no leg and trunk function. Gold went to Benjamin Pritchard from Great Britain. Silver went to Roman Polyansky from Ukraine, and bronze went to Eric Horry from Australia. In the mixed double sculls PR2 class, which does not have use of legs. Gold went to Great Britain, silver to China, bronze to Israel. In the mixed doubles PR3 class, which is limited areas in limited impairment in different parts of your body, but you can use a sliding seat in this class. Gold went to Australia, silver to Great Britain, bronze to Germany. And then in the mixed coxed 4 PR3 class, gold went to Great Britain, silver to USA, bronze to France. This was also on Kelju, and we were watching some of the replay, which was really nice to have that. And in these boats, the position of the oars varied from boat to boat. So some would have alternating left and right. Some would have the front and the back oar would be on one side, and the 2 middle oars would be in another. So now we have questions.
We have not talked to a para rower, so we didn't miss asking the questions, and now we have new questions.
Fair enough. Para swimming. We have probably a lot of swimming because there's a lot of swimming to be had at the Paralympics. In the S11 visual impairment class, this is near total impairment, so they wear the blackout goggles and they have the back tappers. Men's and women's both had 100-meter backstroke races. Gold, and for the men, gold went to Mikhailo Serbin from Ukraine. Silver went to David Krachovil from Czechia, and bronze went to Daniel Chufarov from Ukraine. For the women, gold went to Kylie Wen from China, silver went to Li Guizhi from China, and bronze went to Daria Lukashenko from neutral Paralympic athletes. In the SB5 class, that's I hate calling it the hodgepodge, but there's a lot. It's a power generation factor. So you could have people with missing limbs, you could have people with short stature, and there's just a lot of different body types in this one. Men's and women's 100-meter breaststroke. Gold went to, for the men, gold went to Leo McRae from Switzerland. Silver went to Anthony Ponce Bertrand from Spain. And bronze went to Daniel Semenyakil from Ukraine. For the women, gold went to Grace Harvey from Great Britain. Silver went to Zhang Li from China. And bronze went to Anna Hontar from Ukraine. In SB6 class, which is a little bit different impairment, but also the same mix of body types, men's and women's had 100-meter breaststroke finals. For the men, gold went to Yang Hong from China with a Paralympic record. Silver went to Nelson Crispin Corzo from Colombia, and bronze went to Yevgeny Borodkayo from Ukraine. Nelson Crispin Corzo, because we've known this name for a while. He has competed in 3 other Paralympics, so he's a 4-time Paralympian. He's got 8 medals in total, but it seems like we say his name all the time.
It feels like it. Maybe we just, it goes into that Zach's Double D Cook category where we just loved saying Nelson Crispin Corzo. So I think it stuck with us the few times we did say it.
Right, but no slouch 4 times.
I did not mean to insult him because he is clearly our favorite Paralympic swimmer.
I don't think you've insulted Colombia before, so we'll add this to the list. And for the women's 100-meter in the same class, breaststroke in the same class, gold went to Maisie Summers-Newton from Great Britain with a Paralympic record. Silver goes to Liu Daomin from China, and bronze went to Ing Chuk Yang from Hong Kong. Then we move over to the S10 class, which is the highest level of mobility and coordination. Men's and women's 100-meter freestyle. For the men, gold went to Stefano Raimondi from Italy. Silver went to Rowan Crothers from Australia, and bronze went to Thomas Gallagher from Australia. We also had said Stefano Raimondo a few times. He was a Tokyo Paralympian, so this is Paralympics number 2. In Tokyo, he won 7 medals.
How is that even possible?
It's possible.
Wow. Good.
You know why? Because he saw a Toyota bus ad that said, "Imagine your possible" or "Start your impossible."
Start your impossible.
That's right. He started his impossible during Tokyo. Keeps going. For the women, same distance and stroke, gold went to Emmeline Pierre from France. Silver went to Arielle Rivard from Canada. And bronze went to Alessia Scortecnini from Italy. In the SM4 class, this is low mobility in the legs and trunk, or no legs and a partial one arm. Men's 150-meter individual medley. Gold went to Roman Zhadnov from Neutral Paralympic Athletes. Silver went to Ami Omer Dadadan from Israel. And bronze went to Angel de Jesus Camacho Ramirez from Mexico. For the women, gold went to Tanya Schultz from Germany with a Paralympic record. Silver went to Natalia Butkova from Neutral Paralympic Athletes. And bronze went to Lydia Vieira de Cruz from Brazil.
I do want to mention, we have been saying a lot of neutral Paralympic athletes, and we didn't say a lot of neutral Olympic athletes. There were many more neutral Paralympic athletes that were allowed to compete than the Olympic athletes. So if you feel like we're saying it a lot more, that's because there was a lot more to pick from.
Right, and I will theorize as well that Russia cared more about the Olympic athletes. Like, that stage is a bigger stage for them because a lot of Russian athletes had mentioned that they either had to leave or they wouldn't be able to compete, or they'd lose their funding if they competed. So I wonder how much of that same thing went on with Paralympic athletes.
And there was also the issue of qualification. A lot of Russian athletes were not allowed to compete in the qualifying tournaments, and I doubt that was the case for a lot of these Paralympic athletes.
So we have the SM3 class for the men's 150-meter individual medley. Gold went to Yosha Tim Alexander Top from Germany. Silver went to Ahmed Kelly from Australia, and bronze went to Grant Patterson from Australia. SM8 class, which is an almost full capacity, but they have a lack of all-around muscle power. Men's 200 IM. Gold goes to Zhu Haijiao from China. Silver went to Yang Guanlong from China. And bronze went to Diogo Cancela from Portugal. And for the women in that same race, gold went to Brock Wiston from Great Britain. Silver went to Victoria Ischilova from Neutral Paralympic Athletes. Bronze went to Alice Tai from Great Britain. And fourth place was our Jessica Long. And finally, we had the mixed 4x100 meter freestyle relay, S14, and intellectual impairment class. Gold went to Great Britain, silver to Australia, and bronze went to Brazil. Para table tennis. We had early elimination rounds for men's and women's singles. In the doubles, we did have some gold medal matches, though. For the men's MD 18 class, gold went to Poland, the team of Patrick Chojanowski and Peter Gruzin. Silver went to China, Liu Chaodong and Zhao Yiqing. And bronzes went to China's Lian Hao and Zhao Shui. And Brazil's Luiz Felipe Manara and Claudio Massad. For the MD14 class, gold went to Liao Kelly and Yang Shou from China. Silver went to Rungroy Tayanam and Fizit Wangponpat from Thailand. Bronzes went to Clement Berthier and Esteban Hero from France. And Paul Karabarardak and Billy Shilton from Great Britain. And finally, in the mixed doubles XD7 class, gold went to Feng Panfeng and Zhao Ying from China. Silver went to Yutajak Glinbanchion and Witra Jayong from Thailand. Bronzes went to Shai Zhang and Gu Xiaodan from China, and France's Florian Marion and Flora Vautier.
Hey, was there a para-triathlon today?
No.
Hey, why wasn't there a para-triathlon today?
Because it rained, and when it rains, that means the river in the Seine, it becomes unsuitable for swimming. This is a bigger problem for para-triathletes because they may also have, a lot of Paralympians in general have other issues that make them more susceptible to illness, like maybe E. coli that's in the river that some Olympians caught.
So we talked about this, I believe, in Tokyo because of the heat, that the Paralympics in many sports has less tolerance for bad conditions. So if it gets above a certain temperature, if there's a certain level of smog, they're much more protective of their athletes because they have to be. Because like you said, many of these athletes have not just a physical disability, but then additional health issues.
Right. And we don't want somebody dying because that's a very realistic possibility.
Exactly. So the water quality of the Seine has to be even better than it was for the Olympics. The standard is higher. And it rained. And supposedly we're going to do this tomorrow?
This is, I would be so frustrated to be an athlete because journalists are being told that the time will be published before 6 a.m. So can you imagine being a competitor and getting up super early to not know whether or not you're racing?
The start times of the first para triathlon tomorrow are supposed to be 8:15. They're making the decision less than 2.5 hours beforehand?
I don't know. Maybe they're making the decision earlier.
And just not publishing it.
Yeah, and communicating. Hopefully they're telling the athletes, and then they'll get around to publishing it for us because we can jump a little faster. And hopefully, I would think that a lot of the journalists are closer than the athletes in the village or wherever they're coming from.
To not know 24 hours ahead of time.
But they're waiting for the results of these tests.
I know.
I mean, that's
they
the hard
have
thing.
to.
They really have to. You want to get it kind of close to the date because if you measure at 10 p.m., the water's going to change.
Please don't do anything stupid like this, LA or Brisbane.
Yeah, if you really need to clean up some water, don't put athletes in it. Even if you have a long time to clean it up, it's not going to work. Shooting parasport. we had medals today in the R3 mixed 10-meter air rifle prone SH1 class. Gold went to Veronika Vadovikova from Slovakia. Silver went to Radoslav Malinovsky. Sorry. Silver went to Radoslav Menelowski from Slovakia, and bronze went to Juan Antonio Saverda Ronaldo from Spain. And in the R5 mixed 10-meter air rifle prone SH2 final, France's Tanguy de la Forest won gold. Silver went to Alexander Augusto Galgani from Brazil, and bronze went to Mizuta Mika from Japan. Our McKenna Gear finished 33rd in this competition and did not make it to finals. So it sounds bad, but like McKenna took time off to have a baby, first off, and that's pregnancy messes with your body anyway, from what I understand.
Yeah, she has only come back within the last year. So to even make the team was a pretty big accomplishment.
So
I'm so excited she's here. I'm so excited she's here. And she made it in 3 events.
So that is awesome. And yeah, the results don't matter here because I think it's a win. In sitting volleyball, we had men's and women's preliminary round action. For the women, China beat Italy 3-0, and then USA beat France 3-0, and they were pretty dominant in this appearance, winning each set 25-5, 25-1, and 25-5.
You said that the scuttlebutt was France was very far down. The pecking order.
And my guess is that it because they got an automatic entry, let's create a team, and we don't know how long the team has been together and what the sitting volleyball culture was in France before this. I'm guessing it wasn't.
There was no culture.
I'm guessing it's kind of like how we will be with blind football, where now we're putting together a team. But that's fine. They're here, and they're showing their country people that volleyball in that sitting volleyball
is amazing. It's so amazing.
So good.
I'll get out there.
In the men's prelims, Germany beat Ukraine 3-1, and Iran beat Brazil 3-0. Wheelchair basketball.
Where you went today.
I did, and I only got to 3/4 into Team USA before I had to go out to the High Performance Center because that was an hour trip from where we were. But I'm so glad I got in there to see it. The court, as people have talked about the design of the court on TV, it's beautiful in person. I will say that. It's absolutely beautiful. USA played Australia. Australia is a very physical team. Are we shocked?
Are they ever not a physical team in a team sport?
It's amazing. There were a lot of Australians in the crowd, too. That was really surprising. I was really surprised not to see more Americans there, which is a bummer. I also am surprised that the NBA has not hopped on board with wheelchair basketball and figured out a way to. There's a market for this. Because if you like basketball, you like wheelchair basketball. You've just not gotten the opportunity to see it because it's the same game.
You know, the NHL has done things with sled hockey.
Mm-hmm.
Why?
Yeah.
There's a model to do this.
Right. So hopefully we can find something that will prove our indignation wrong.
I'll call Andrea Joyce. I have her number.
There you go. She might know. Instead of the point values on the back of their chair like they have in rugby, they just have their player numbers on the back of their chair. So that I thought was really interesting. Very close game in the first half. Very, very close. Then quarter 3, USA just broke it open. And when I left, I felt like, okay, they've got this game in the book. That's they did really, really well. And it was fun. It was really, really fun to watch. In the other men's prelims, Spain beat Netherlands 68-53. USA men are undefeated in pool play. They've got the top spot in their group and have qualified for quarterfinals. Also qualified are Australia and Spain so far.
The other pool hasn't finished.
Yes. In women's prelim action, Germany beat Japan 67-55. China beat Great Britain 62-47. And Canada beat Spain 81-49. the four of the teams that have qualified for quarterfinals are Spain, Canada, Great Britain, and China. Wheelchair rugby.
I did not go because I was with Matt Stutzman. He needed my support. But I was sitting there watching the score.
You can't stay away. You can't stay away.
I knew when it started, and I left it for like 15 minutes, and then I said, I can't handle this. So I'm sitting there watching Matt Stutzman with my phone. I can't watch the feed or anything.
Yeah.
Because you have to be quiet. Just watching the score.
And we don't know how to get the feed, to be quite honest. Sometimes we're in venues where there's screens, but that's just the feed of what you're watching in front of you. We don't have the same Discovery Max pass that we had for the Olympics.
Because that's not the European broadcaster, I don't think, for the Paralympics.
No. And we're going to be honest, we don't know how to get it on YouTube.
We watch K-Shu.
Yeah, so now we watch TV3 when we get a chance, but they may not show the wheelchair rugby because France not doing so well. But who is?
So Canada in the classification. So this is a weird classification. So to determine 5th through 8th, there's actually going to be 2 games that each team plays. So for today, Canada beat Denmark 56-46. France beat Germany 54-48. Then we had the semifinals. The first one was between Japan and Australia. It went to overtime.
Oh my! Wow!
And Japan upset Australia 52-51.
This is amazing.
This is a big upset.
Because I mean, when we were talking about the tournament ahead of time, Japan didn't even come out of your mouth.
And I feel really bad about it now.
Right? They must have really taken what having Tokyo being the host, that must have really put some energy into them and kept that momentum going. And now look at the success that they're having.
So then, thankfully, thank goodness, the United States led throughout this game. It was close but not tight. So the U.S. defeated Great Britain 50-43. Chuck Aoki had 18 tries. He was a little busy tonight.
Pretty good.
So tomorrow, the gold medal match will be USA versus Japan. I'm a little in shock in the best way because my Australian friend that I met and spoke to for all of 5 minutes, we both said after that first day, this tournament is going to be tight. So having a surprise team in the gold medal match is not that much of a surprise. We knew there was a lot of, it wasn't just 2 teams that we knew were going to end up in the final. And the bronze medal match will be Australia and Great Britain. And these are anyone's games. I'm going.
Well, I was going to say, you will be there. So
I will
be
there.
there to tell us all about it. I went to wheelchair tennis, which is our last sport for the day. And I only saw like a game and a half because I was coming back from the high performance center, but I did want to get out to see some doubles action with one of the most dominant teams of recent years, Netherlands, Diede de Groot and Aniek van Koot, who have been dominant in the sport for a long, long time. They've won the French Open wheelchair doubles 6 times together, which we're playing on the French Open court, so that's kind of makes sense here. Also have a lot of Olympic I believe they're defending gold medalists from Tokyo as well. They were the last match of the day on Philippe Chartrier, so I was really excited that they got that. But then we had the crowd. And before them was Schroeder and Vink, Niels Vink from Netherlands.
Some of my favorites from Tokyo.
Yes. Playing against Rampadi and Sitola from South Africa. Fun game. Pretty big crowd. It was, I would say, the crowd size for that matchup was about the size of a women's match, non-France and non-superstar at the Olympics. So pretty full, but not packed that you would get for a men's match. Then everybody left.
Really?
It really cleared out. And Niels Vink had a huge cheering section for him. They all left. I'm like, but your country people are here. I know you want to go see your buddy, but like, there's more tennis. So a lot of people left. They even, I said, come down for like the last game to try to fill in the lower level. It was rough and frustrating. And I also get that some French people were playing on Suzanne Langland. So, of course, a lot of the crowd went there. People were leaving. I'm sure it was a hot day. I get to sit in the shade. But not all the court is shaded. And especially if you were in some of the outer courts, those have no shade. So it could have been that people were just done with tennis for the day. But that really made me sad because you missed some amazing tennis, I will say. Vink and Schroeder beat Rampati and Sitola 6-1, 6-1, but the crowd was getting behind South Africa like nobody's business.
They want a longer match.
I know. That's what they did. They wanted the longer match. Some beautiful points and beautiful placement by the South Africans that just sent the crowd wild, which was really, really fun to watch. And then, the other semi and so Schroeder and Vink win 6-1, 6-1. They are in the quads doubles semifinal. The other semifinal that day, Great Britain's Lapthorne and Slade beat Pena and Silva from Brazil 6-1, 7-5. So it will be Netherlands versus Great Britain for the gold medal there. And then Dida de Groot and Aniek van Koot beat Japan's Otani and Takamuro 6-4, 6-1. That first set was really close, to be quite honest. There was a lot of back and forth on a deuce. There was a lot of back and forth on a deuce with the umpire who couldn't remember where we were in the point. So he kept saying, he said game, and it wasn't game. It just had gone back to deuce. And then he was like, okay. And then he messed it up like 2 or 3 more times. Just could not get if it was deuce, if it was an advantage, or if we were back at, or if the game was over. That was fun. When you watch wheelchair tennis, it does look like a lot of lobbing back and forth in a way that's not, I don't want to be critical of that because it seems a lot slower. But then all of a sudden, you can't not look because they're going to put a spin on the ball or slice it or slam it down. Dida Groot has got so much power in her forearm. It's amazing. She is, I wish I had time to go watch her play singles because I was really, 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 really happy to get to go out there. A lot of fun, beautiful day in Roland Garros. And I think that's it, right? We're done for the day?
That's all the competition. Is that not enough for you? I got Andrea Joyce's phone number. That press center is like the best singles bar ever.
Well, and if you go into the snack area of the lounge, the media lounge in that venue media center, all the tables have little tablecloths that are archery targets. It's adorable. I love the archery people. They're fantastic. And you know who else is fantastic?
Sunny and Sadie are official mascots for this week of the Paralympics. So listener Dawn describes Sunny as having mellowed as she has gotten older. I will not use the word that he used to describe her as a young guinea pig.
Rambunctious?
Punk.
Oh, she was a punk. That's awesome.
Sadie, on the other hand, had part of her ear bitten off by another guinea pig because she was in a hoarding situation, I think. She was so she had to be rescued. So she's a little Paralympian herself.
Aww.
So thank you to Dawn for sharing Sadie and Sunny with TKFLASTAN and for supporting the Kickstarter campaign that got us to Paris.
So TKFLASTAN has won some medals today.
We've got a bronze and a gold, so it's 4 gold, 2 bronze. No silvers. Get going, people.
How are we doing on that medal stand?
That is 11th overall between Switzerland and Ukraine.
Not bad. Not bad at all. And we have more options or more chances tomorrow.
So racing in the pool in 50-meter freestyle, Olivia Chambers is in the women's S13 and Jamal Hill in the men's S9. Mackenzie Cohen has her first swim in the women's S7 400-meter freestyle.
Grace Norman may be racing in the PT S5 paratriathlon.
Marco Della Rosa shoots in the P3 mixed 25-meter pistol SH1.
Callahan Young and Team USA play men's goalball in the quarterfinals against Japan.
Hey, you know who else is playing Japan?
I would say your boyfriend, but he's not your boyfriend.
No, he's not my boyfriend. I just am fangirling. Chuck Aoki and Team USA Wheelchair Rugby. I will be there. You will hear me from the United States. That sound you hear is "Arr!" as I cheer for the wheelchair rugby.
Well, that's going to do it for this episode. Special thank you to our researcher, Elizabeth Emery.
And you can
Let me hold up.
Okay.
A special thank you to our researcher, Elizabeth Emery.
You can get in touch with us on X, YouTube, and Instagram at FlameAlivePod. Send us an email at flamealivepod@gmail.com. Call or text us at 208-352-6348. That's 208-FLAME-IT. Chat with us and other fans on our Facebook group, Keep the Flame Alive Podcast. And to get our daily special Games Time newsletter, sign up at our website, flamealivepod.com.
We will have Matt Stutzman tape coming up right after this, so be sure to stick around for that. And join us again tomorrow for more action from Paris. Please tell a friend about the show and hang out with us in the Facebook group because it is hopping. Thank you so much for listening, and until tomorrow, keep the flame alive.
You're a man possessed today. I mean, you live for this. I said to you yesterday, you're a showman. How have you seen that photo?
I haven't seen any photos
Could you
yet.
get it any closer to the middle for that shoot off?
I don't know. I haven't seen nothing, so I don't know. Here's what was going through my mind. One arrow at a time, and it was my plan to just enjoy the moment. Whatever happened, I told my family that. I said, hey, if I don't do well, it is what it is. I'm still going to go out there and enjoy the fact that I get to shoot in Paris, no matter what happens. It's not like, oh, I have to go shoot in Paris. No, I get to shoot in Paris. And that was how my mindset was coming into this. I didn't think I was going to get hot at the end and it was going to turn into this. But that was my mindset. And I just kept it going the entire time.
I heard you say, I'm not sure if it was an interview or talking to somebody the other day, and they were saying, oh, you know what, you're retiring. And your words, correct me if I'm wrong, were, I'm not as good as I used to be. I mean, today you were on fire.
Yeah. What? So I can't explain it. It just, having the whole crowd behind me made me feel at home. And once I started shooting that match against McQueen, my jitters, my anxiety about, not anxiety, but my jitters just went away and everything got relaxed. And all of a sudden I found my stroke. And it was so confident that I could aim, and if it didn't feel right and I went like this, I could wait. And I look at the time and I'm like, I got lots of time. And I would come back in, bam. But that's the confidence. I was so confident. I brought one bow. I didn't bring any backups. In fact, if you look at my bow, the strings have been on that bow since Tokyo. And they're pretty messed up. But at home, when I was shooting world records at home, and my confidence was with it so much that I didn't want to create doubt in my head by bringing anything else. Because if you have a backup, you're like, oh, what if the backup would have shot better? I wanted to be like, this is it, do or die, here it goes, this is going to work. And that's the confidence or the belief and the mental training I had to do.
You talk about the crowd, but there was a particular group in that crowd, your family.
Oh,
how much
my
were you
goodness.
drawing on that being in?
The first time that they were at a games, they couldn't be in Tokyo. When I first walked out for my very first match, I really had to fight back the tears of just being able to perform in front of them and having them cheer. knowing they had my back no matter what happened. And that is my gold medal moment, whether I would have won this or not. And that's why I got to retire. You can't top this. You never top it.
When you were so emotional on the podium, what was going through your mind?
I couldn't believe I was there. I can't believe that the mental prep and having my family there worked. I couldn't believe that I beat China. China is very good. And I knew going into it that I would have to shoot pretty good to beat them. But none of it mattered because I was already okay with the results, whatever that was. And I think it worked. It worked. And China's amazing. Amazing. I wish I trained with China all the time because you know how much better I would be if I trained with China.
And you wouldn't be retiring.
No. USA is good too, but it's more about being around those athletes because when you shoot together, you get better. And I knew I had to have my best performance to beat them, and they made me work for it, and it was awesome.
2 golds in a day. Talk about Jason.
Oh my goodness!
How much that?
Oh my goodness! I forgot. Yes, Jason rocking the gold too. I was in the stands for that one, and I don't know if you guys know the story, but I think it's the most amazing thing. He didn't even qualify for Paris, and he had another archer that was going to Paris get injured, so they couldn't go. So because they couldn't go, he got the spot. So he went from not even making the games to a gold medal. Like, he has served our country way more than I could have ever served our country, and I'm glad that he was rewarded for it.
There's a bit of a bookend. His first games, your last games, and you both walked away with gold today.
I was thinking about this. My very, very first games was a silver, and today I had to beat him to move on, and it was kind of like a storybook little beating the guy who beat me, and then my last games ever is a gold. So
in a shootout again.
In a shootout, and I just can't explain it, but I'm very blessed. That's all. I'm sure tomorrow, if you ask me all these questions again, they're probably going to be a little bit more energy and exciting.
What are you doing tonight?
I want to go spend time with my family. I got to pee for people, and then I'm going to soak it all up and just enjoy family time.
I'm from Japanese newspaper, and I've seen you, Rio, Tokyo, and here. I never saw you that consistent, concentrated, focused on.
Yeah.
What changed you? The fact that this could be the last, or, the fact that, I don't know.
This is my favorite question because I think you will understand this. In London, when I shot in London, first games, no expectations, just have fun. Woo! Rio, I spent 4 years training for a moment, and when I got there, it didn't work out. I had an issue, but I took the loss hard. Like, it was mentally hard because I was like, 4 years I spent training and I have nothing. Tokyo, my mindset was I get there and I don't have a crowd, and I loved crowds. So it kind of like my confidence wasn't that good, and so for this game specifically, I focused all my energy for the last several years on mental focus, mental training, and learning how to shoot without pressure. Because when you do that, you will perform like your body knows how it's been trained to do. So for me, the difference between this game felt very much like London. When I was in London and had to go against Forsberg, is that right? Forsberg? I was so happy to be there, I didn't care. I was like, no matter what, I'm winning a medal. When I went out there today, I said, I'm going to win this gold. I could have thought, I'm going to win a medal no matter what, but this time I'm like, I'm here now. It's my time, and I'm going to win a gold. And I was calm, confident, steady, and everything worked great. So
I know
Paralympic record.
yes, I did.
I was
set by Chinese guy in Tokyo.
Yes.
And one final one from me, and I know you'll reflect more time over the next few days, but your legacy. your legacy is not just medals, it's not just family, there's more armless archers now involved in this sport because of you.
This is, you could take away all my medals and I wouldn't care because that would be my medal. Do you know how many people are here shooting and feeling what I felt when I first started shooting? It's not about winning the medals. It's about the fact that they're competing against people. They're winning. They're getting this feeling of joy and excitement. This archery can't tell them no. A bow is a bow. It just wants to be shot. Nobody cares who shoots it. So these armless archers are finding what I felt a long time ago, and they're finding it now. And they're feeling the joy and the excitement and the passion of being able to compete at the world's greatest stage and win against people with arms. You're going to see a flood of armless archers because armless archers sell a dream of not just winning, but that freedom of saying, I'm good at something. And you can't take that away from them. And no one can tell me you can't do that. And that's why you're going to see it huge now.
There was a little moment there, and maybe I'm wrong, but there was a little moment as I was asking that question, you started to get a little bit emotional. This means a huge amount to you, doesn't it?
It's a lot. Yeah. We're changing. When I got into it, feed my family, now it's about changing the world.
Driving cars, doing anything, Michael
Yeah.
Johnson. And so, in a sense, you are trying to show to the world that you could do anything.
And I try to do it by example, not just talk about it. You can talk about it all day long, but when they watch and they see, changes their mind, and then they understand that, hey, I can do that too. And even for you guys, whatever it is going on in your lives, why can't you do that? Why can't you be the best? Whatever it is, like I just want a gold medal against people with hands. Come on now, So that's where my mindset is now.
That will amplify your message.